everyone, this is Campus 101 exam series and I'm your mathematics tutor, Jisitumishi. So now we'll be looking into the concept of quadratic equations. I know you should be familiar with quadratic equations, but very quickly, quadratic equations are equations with just one unknown, just a single unknown, but usually the power of the unknown is raised to a power of 2, is raised to 2. If it goes past 2, it's no longer a quadratic equation, and if you do not have any unknown raised to a power of 2 in your equation, it is not a quadratic equation. But once you see an equation in your exam that the unknown is raised to a power of 2, that is a quadratic equation. So usually in mathematics, there are 3 different methods in solving a quadratic equation. You have the factorization method, the completing the square method, and the graphical method. But due to the technicalities of your examination, we'll be focusing on just the completing the square method. And I'll just be taking you through a few examples. And you need to note also that in your exams, quadratic equation will not come as plain and normal as they usually be. They can come in form of fractions and in form of word problems. So the first question we'll be treating now is a quadratic equation in form of a fraction. So just stay with me and let's solve together. Okay, this is an example of a quadratic equation and we'll be using the completing the square method. Now this is in fraction. So the first thing is to eliminate the fraction. And how do I eliminate the fraction? I will do that by doing a cross multiplication. So I multiply this way and this way. So it becomes 2x into x minus 2 equals to 4 into x plus 2. Then I go ahead to open the bracket. 2x times x, that's 2x squared minus 4x equals to 4x plus 8. And I collect the like terms, but now I know I'm going into a quadratic equation, so I collect the like terms to look like a quadratic equation. So I have 2x squared minus 4x, bringing 4x to this side gives me minus 4x, then plus 8 to the other side, that's minus 8, equals to, there's nothing again on this side, that is 0. So this gives me 2x squared minus 4x minus 4x, 8x minus 8 equals to 0. Now, for you to solve your completing the square method, the first thing you need to do, I need you to note these things. The first thing you do is to divide through by the coefficient of x squared. Divide through by the coefficient of x squared. Most times, x squared might not have a coefficient, that is just an invisible one. When you still divide through, you still get your numbers. But now the coefficient of x squared here is 2. So you divide through by the coefficient of x squared. Dividing through by the coefficient of x squared, which is 2. So 2 cancels 2, that is x squared minus 8 divided by 2, that is 4x minus 8 divided by 2, 4 equals to 0. You are done with the first step. Your second step in completing the square method is taking the constant to the other side of the equation. You take the constant to the other side of the equation, which gives you x squared minus 4x equals to 0 plus 4. That's x squared minus 4x equals to 4. Now, this next part is quite the most technical part in completing the square method. I want you to listen very carefully. The next thing that you do, you consider the coefficient of x. We've dealt with the coefficient of x squared, we've dealt with the constant. Now, for the coefficient of x, you look for the half of the coefficient of x. I'm going to take it one by one. The half of the coefficient of x in this instance is minus 4 over 2, which is minus 2. This is the half of the coefficient of x. We have x squared minus 4x equals to 4. We've properly dealt with the coefficient of x squared and the constant involved in this equation. Now we are left to the coefficient of x. What do we do to the coefficient of x? The first thing to do is to look for the half of the coefficient of x. Remember, you look for the half of the coefficient of x. That is minus 4 over 2, which gives us minus 2. After getting this half, the next thing you do is to square the answer. Squaring minus 2 gives you 4. Then you go ahead to add 4 to both sides, which gives you x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals to 4 plus 4. So this gives us x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals to 8. Then you go ahead to factorize this side of the equation. Factorizing this side of the equation gives us x minus 2 all squared, which is equals to 8. A quick method to getting this factorization is just taking note of the x squared here and the 2 minus 2 square here. So you just bring them both into a bracket, x then minus 2 all squared equals to 8. To remove the square here, I need to square root both sides. Taking the square root of both sides, x minus 2 all squared equals to square root of 8. Square cancels the square root. I have x minus 2 equals to plus or minus square root of 8. I believe you know why I added the plus or minus. Remember, plus, for instance, I have square root of 4 will give me either plus 2 or minus 2. So in quadratic equation, you need to indicate this plus or minus. Now I take minus to the other side. That gives me x equals to 2 plus or minus root 8. So that means the final answer for x equals to 2 plus root 8 or x equals to 2 minus root 8. Your answer can be left this way, and you can go ahead to punch your calculator, look for the square root of 8, subtract it from 2, look for the square root of 8 and add it to 2. But usually in mathematics, this is the best form to leave your answer. Thank you.